Okay, good evening. Calling to order this meeting of the Montara Water and Sanitary District Board of Directors. It's February 5th, 2026, 7:30 p.m. Could we have a roll call, please?
Director Champion.
Here.
Director Young.
Present.
Director Boyd.
Here.
Director Slater Carter.
Here.
Director Sofke. Here.
All right, thank you. All right, so for President's statement, let me just start with this. Once again, remember, if you see the crew out and about taking care of us, it's always good to say hello and thank you for the hard work. And remember, they often work late at night and during the storms, and they just keep things working. And they work hard, and sometimes it's really hard. On the matter of public comment, it's available so the public may address the board and district staff. Our job is to listen and consider what we hear. We aim to do so with courtesy and respect. And I hope we can all do so as we go through tonight's meeting. District staff are sometimes able to respond to comments. However, given several Seal Cove property owners have filed claims against the district, we won't be having a back and forth. The board will only receive public comment, will not respond to any questions or statements. And with that, let's go to oral comments. So we have oral comments on items that are not on the agenda. I'll go first to Michelle Dragony, and after Michelle, we'll go to Greg.
Hi, I'm still having a lot of problems with the website. All of my posts that link to the Montara website are going 404 prior, including October and prior to that. And then internally, I was, clicking around, and all of the internal links for every agenda item is also 404. So I just want to let you know that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. Greg Diego's. Greg, you able to join us?
Yeah, I am. I'm just sorry. I'm suffering a bit here. I just wanted to pass on a piece of information that I will call provisional. But at RAM, we were notified by Janine Crawford of Caltrans that they did approve funding for mitigation of the wildfire on the Caltrans bypass. They did not provide any specifics, but Larry DeYoung and I went through 1,139 pages of agenda packet materials at the last California Transportation Commission meeting and found the project. And Kevin Fong, who works for Assemblyman Berman, says this is the one. So this project is a little under $1.9 million. We have been asking for a project plan, scope of work statement for most of the year. We still haven't gotten that. So we don't know what's included. The total seems a little low to me for 110 acres of wildfire danger, but it will be considered progress if in fact they're actually going to do some more work beyond what they've already done. So I will forward a screenshot of this to the board here. And at some point when we get some clarity, we hope to hold a community meeting so we can all assess whether we're satisfied with what's being done. And I'm sure MWSD would have its own opinions on that. I just wanted to let you know that at least it's something. Thanks.
Thanks for your hard work, Greg.
Thank you, Greg. All right, next to Amy Calgar.
Hi, yes. Thank you for holding the meeting. And I am in the process of submitting my design review with the County of San Mateo. And they've asked me to reach out to Montara Sewer and Water, to you guys, to the district, with the question of, will there be any issues getting a permit? I am in Seal Cove. My APN is, well, I'm behind 955 Ocean and then across from 31 Presida.
Okay, I understand you've contacted staff and you've started that process.
Yes, I mean I've reached out. I haven't heard back and thought this was a great opportunity to come say hello, introduce myself, and I'm interested in understanding if there are any, if you can foresee any issues with my application for the permit.
Yeah, oh, Clemens, did you want to say something?
Thank you, Amy. I just want to confirm the receipt of the email that you sent yesterday afternoon, as well as the one that you sent this morning. And give us some time, we respond.
Okay, sure. Yeah, no problem. What's your time frame for responding? I'm kind of new to this game and just need to set my plans for the design review.
Within a week for sure.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Seeing no further public comment. Okay, Sid?
Well, I'm gonna bring it up later on our agenda, but I noticed we're going to approve 71 units for Mid-Penn tonight. If we do approve it.
If it's on the agenda, that's the time to talk about it.
I know, but this is related to what she had to
No,
say.
but we're not
The
responding.
LCP only allows 60 units or 40
See,
units.
this is really out of
Sid,
order. It's really out of order.
Okay,
Yeah, we can talk about it later in the meeting. We'll be here for the whole thing.
Yeah,
So
we're here.
we'll do it in the proper order.
okay. I do have other things to say. I did have the opportunity last week to do the homeless point in time count. And they have started work over here at the Carlos Street project. And when we pulled in off of 16th Street, yeah, 16th Street, where we started the Moss Beach run, the haulers came in right behind us and they shoot us away off the apron of the road. And now I went by there last night and they've put rocks and stuff. I guess they've torn up the shoulder there. But also I went to a CERT meeting on Sunday at the yacht club, and they talked to us about the 811 call before you dig. And I saw on Nextdoor that we're finally starting to get the Montara. What are they gonna do? The force main, they're punching holes for that along Highway 1. So I saw that on Coastside Buzz had posted it. So that's good news. And also March 7th is the compost giveaway at Mid-Penn. Recology, and that address is 2210 Palmetto in Pacifica. You're allowed 64 gallons total, but you must bring gallon cans, 32 gallon cans, no boxes or bags. And that's from 8 a.m. in the morning till noon or until they run out. That's it.
All right, thank you, Sid.
Oh, and one more thing, we do have those grease containers, and I mentioned at the very tail end of the meeting last time, but I want to make sure everybody knows that we have those now. That people can pick up and use here. They're at the office out in front by the lobby. Yes,
Okay,
thanks,
Thank you.
Orga.
Leah?
And I have discovered, a friend gave me some information. It's called vetiver grass. And it's a grass that would grow in our area. And it's good for stabilizations of cliffs. The roots go 10 to 12 feet. The roots of it's a grass, and it's like an evergreen. It's drought tolerant, and it might be really something that could be used if they're for the Caltrans area to, as far as like if we need stabilization, if there's any kinds of problem. And so I brought up a little thing. If you could just pass this, the rest.
And for every director.
Yes.
Okay,
one
great,
for every
thanks.
Director. So it's something to consider,
Thank
something
you.
new, and it might be good for stabilization. It might be good for fire suppression.
As far as you know, it's not invasive or anything like.
It's non-invasive.
that.
Okay.
Thank you,
Phil.
Leah.
On the subject, it seems that since there's a non-zero possibility that Caltrans will actually come here and do some serious work, which will affect our environment net in a good way, if they cut down the right things and don't create landslides doing the wrong things. That's good, but it would be super cool if there could be a meeting where people who live in Montara could sit down with the people who are planning this. I mean, it's nice to pass documents back and forth, but who knows what anyone reads when they see any particular document. So insofar as we as a district care about this spot of land and care about the place we live, it seems that one way, either by a nod or by some future agenda item, I'm not quite sure how, we make it more likely that citizens will meet with the Caltrans people who are planning on doing something in our hometown.
May I suggest you contact the Mid-Coast Community Council?
I'm here, I'm just, okay, so
It's
you're
out
saying,
of- Can I finish?
yeah,
It's out of our lane.
So,
what does that mean? That doesn't
so
make sense.
that's discussion. We're having public comment.
Okay, that was my comment.
Okay. So, let's proceed with the agenda. We have next up, on the consent agenda, we've got the 10 items that are on it. Anyone care to pull anything for discussion?
Oh, I would.
Uh.
On the January 22nd meeting minutes, item 4, can we pull that?
Okay, we can. Anything else? Okay, let's discuss that so we can do it all at once. Sid?
Oh, I just wanted to make a note that they left out the part that I said that, it says in the meeting minutes, the importance of, rotating board positions to ensure fresh perspectives and prevents stagnation. Asked the president Boyd how long he had served as president. He did not give a response, but that part was not included in the meeting minutes. So could they add that and then we can approve those meeting minutes at the next board meeting, please?
Do we have action minutes? We don't have verbatim minutes anymore, do we?
Yeah, it's always action. I mean, it's
So
choice
conversation.
on how
not
verbatim
there.
it is. or-
Right, but I would like that to be part of the meeting minutes since it's something that's,
Well, okay, so since you're calling directly addressing my response,
or lack of.
you didn't like my response, but I did respond,
Okay, I'd like it made note of that you didn't give a response.
except that would be false, and I'm not gonna support that.
Okay,
So can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? I move.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Under the new Brown Act modifications, do we need a roll call on this?
Yes, you do,
Roll
President
call
Boyd.
on every vote.
Yeah.
Okay,
Director Champion,
Aye.
Director Young,
no,
Director Boyd.
yes.
Director Slater Carter,
Yes.
Director Sofsky.
Yes.
All right.
Was your say yes or
Motion,
no?
that was a no.
I was in.
So
I
motion
couldn't
carries by
understand.
4-1.
Okay.
Please through the chair, both of you, please. By 4-1, the motion carries, the consent agenda is approved. New business item 1, review and possible action concerning approval of agreement for construction and acquisition of sewer main extension at Cypress Point Development.
Yeah, thank you very much. Want to thank our sewer engineer Pippin Cavagnaro for preparing this item and doing really the legwork on this. So we're talking about the Sierra One development that's currently going in, and the construction has already started. And I'm actually just going to ask Pippin to present this staff report, but what we're asking the board is adopting a resolution approving a main sewer extension and an agreement for the construction and acquisition of the sewer main extension. Pippin, if you can present this item, please.
Yeah, thank you. As Clemens pointed out, the county has approved construction of this project at this time of year, which is a little, not our normal time of year. We have projects like this, but the county is working with the contractor for their construction methods for construction before March. So we, this particular item is to allow this development to connect into the Montara water and sanitary sewer collection system. There's no existing sewer main that fronts the property. The closest sewer main with capacity is at 16th Street. And so what they have gotten is they've submitted a plan to the County of San Mateo that proposes a sewer pipe to be built from 16th Street up Carlos Street and across the frontage of their property. And this mainline extension agreement, what it does is it provides assurances to the sanitary district that this pipe will be built in accordance with the district codes and specifications, and provides insurance and bonding for a 1-year warranty period. And after that 1 year, the pipe will be inspected again. And if the pipe is satisfactory, meaning it's still up to district standards and is functioning properly, and the county approves the encroachment permit and all the restorations, then the district will take ownership of that pipe along Carlos Street, and it will be part of the district's collection system maintenance responsibilities into the future. Inside the development, inside the property, they're going to have their own system of laterals and shared collection pipes. Those will be private, and they will be responsible for all maintenance on the property. So the district will only maintain the sewer system that's in Carlos Street. They hope to start construction fairly soon. In doing this, they've also submitted a deposit and agreed to pay the actual costs for engineering, site inspection, and legal oversight. And with that, we have reviewed the plans and their construction estimate, and Christine's reviewed the bond language, and we recommend that the board considers accepting this proposal for this mainline extension agreement.
All right,
That's a good question.
hold on. Clemens, did you have anything further for us? Before we
No.
go to discussion?
No, thank you.
Okay, I'm just looking, okay, let's hear from the public and then we'll go to board discussion. Greg Diegas?
I have to begin with a question, if I might. Pippin or Clemens, what are they going to be charged for connection fees? Is it going to be just one big connection? Or are you going to charge, as you do for every other homeowner, for the number of fixtures and so forth?
I can answer that if you want, Clemens.
Yeah, go ahead.
So to be clear, this action item tonight is not regarding the connection fees. This is specifically a separate agreement regarding the main pipe to be installed in the street. But to your question, in order to get the approval for construction, they did have to pay connection fees to the sanitary district. That has been done, and they paid on a totality of all the sanitary fixture units they plan to install. They presented plans to the county and to the district, and all the fixture units were counted, and every fixture unit was charged.
Okay, so my concern remains, though, and this came up a few years ago with Big Wave, discussing with staff. Over the last 30 years or so, public works construction costs have inflated 3.5%, 3.69% a year. At 3.5% every 40 years, that means the cost of replacing those quadruples. And of course, with tariffs and Trump, that number's gone higher. So my concern with Big Wave, and my concern here, is that the district is going to assume a cost for eventual replenishment of that asset. And all the rest of the ratepayers are going to be, I'll call it the word subsidizing, but I don't really know that that's accurate, because there are no financials presented here showing what the long-term impact of this deal will be. Certainly water and sewer agencies do not make a profit, and many of them are in a hole. So I think we can assume that any rates they pay will just cover the basic costs, and we'll be left with a bill for replenishment. Now, to its credit, Montara, MWSD, has instituted a water system reliability charge and asset-based fee. And that fee could provide the means for immunizing or holding harmless other ratepayers for the eventual replenishment cost of a dedicated asset, such as the pipe to Big Wave and this particular Bayline extension. Now, when I mentioned this at staff a few years ago, I was told, but Greg, they're donating an asset. And I said, no, they're donating a burden, because public works assets have a perpetual service implication and must be replenished. So I would like to see a financial assessment of the whole deal, connection fees and everything. I know that they're donating the initial construction, but this is an age-old developer tactic. And I can point you to a number of cities all facing fiscal cliffs who have the bill coming due now that they're being forced to replenish stuff, as well as a host of literature on cost of service. And it's well known that residential housing, even apartments, lose money. So, I'm just concerned that the district's undertaking a burden without the appropriate financial analysis. I have no doubt that the engineering has been done properly and will be done properly. And I do understand the financial arrangements you've outlined. So that's my comment and request, that we see a financial analysis for this, and that it impact the water system reliability charge or other asset-based fees going forward.
So I'll go to Sid and then Bill and then Kathy.
So, Pittman, my question was that you mentioned that they plan to build on 16th Street. That's gonna be uphill to Carlos Street. I don't know where in 16th Street they plan to build, but I assume it's closer to Highway 1, but if it's further back, it's higher up. And it's only gonna be for 1 year, so I would imagine it might not even be occupied in 1 year's time. Is that probably correct?
I
Do you think?
I can't speak to their time frame for completing their on-property development. But the pipe itself is going to connect, you're correct, near 16th Street, near Highway 1, at the intersection of 16th and Carlos. The pipe will be tested. It can be pressure tested with air, for example, air pressure test. The testing in the CCTV inspection, for example, can be repeated after a year, to make sure the pipe is still sound. So the pipe's functionality on it's a gravity system. I don't have a lot of concerns of whether they're occupying it or not, whether the pipe system will, still be functioning. It's more usually when you're looking at a pipe structure like this, you're looking, and as you point out, it is going uphill, so the grades are pretty good, but you'd be looking at things like if the construction didn't have proper pipe bedding, for example, and it causes a sag. So over time, the pipe might shift, and then the grade isn't good, or the manhole cracks, and when it rains, say next winter, we open the manhole structures and water's leaking in. Those type of things would have to be sealed up. So that's the main concern we have for the structural integrity. The plastic pipe they're going to use isn't going to be, the condition's not going to change if they're occupying it or not.
So we won't really know if it's not occupied yet, if it's gonna be adequate for 71 units worth of showering and dishwashing and pooping and all of that. It may.
Well, sorry to cut you off. I mean, to the point, they had an
No,
engineer. They had an engineer design the pipe for the capacity of their needs. So we didn't design the pipe. We approved the
Right.
standards and materials, and we'll be reviewing their construction methods along with the County of San Mateo.
Okay, so I guess I'm only a little concerned because, it could be that they they get more people in there than they planned for per unit, but that's okay. I mean, that'll be down the road, what we have to contend with. That was my question for you. And then I did have a question for the board, and that is that if it's 71 units, the LCP only allows 60 units per year. And it was 40 and 71 units goes well beyond, and Big Wave was 75, is that not right? Did we approve 75 units for the water?
This was a different project. It wasn't units per se, it's shared living arrangements. So I'm not quite sure how this was expressed
Oh,
in units.
It's 70 residents, I guess, you're right. Anyway, we have this one person online here that wants to put in for her building permit, and there's obviously probably others who also have plans to build. And I want to know if Mid-Penn and Big Wave are taking up all the allocations for the next 2 years. And don't we have some sort of requirement to allow some building permits and water and sewer connections for the general public? That's what I feel is important. That we shouldn't just automatically give it to the first Johnny, who stands in line and demands 71 units. That's what I'm gonna ask, and especially when 60 is the limit for a big project, and they're asking for 71. So I don't know if anyone wants to answer that.
Comments?
Yeah, so I think you gotta dig deeper into the LCP and you will find that this project has been essentially planned for in the LCP since the inception of the LCP, since the 80s. So what that means is that the growth limitation of 1% that applies to new development does not apply to this project, and it does not apply to all the other projects that are listed in the LCP as priority allocations. So the project we're talking about right now has per LCP over 200 units permitted, and that means that this agency and any other agencies that provide services have to set aside the capacity for this project before anyone else in this district is served.
So my question still remains, will we not give out any permits to other people because we've given them to Mid-Penn?
No, the growth limitation is essentially that's a county restriction. We are processing the projects that are referred to San Mateo from San Mateo County to the district. So this is our standard rule through the Public Works Plan. We only respond to water and sewer requests, or we only issue will serve letters, we only issue connections in conjunction with San Mateo County approved project. So San Mateo County is in charge of the 1% growth limit. Okay, and again, there is exceptions for set aside allocations.
Right.
This is a set aside allocation here that has much more capacity set aside than what they're currently actually planning on using.
So there goes my question again. Let's say the person that came on the screen today wants to take out a permit for building. They go first to the planning department and then finally to MWSD. First, they get their coastal design review and CDP, and then they come here last, or they have to get our hurdle first, and then they get their CDP.
They go to the county and the county sends a referral for this project at which we respond.
Okay, all right. So we're not the bad guys having to say no because we already gave it all to Mid. It'll be the county that would have to say no if they decided to. I don't think they're keeping track, frankly. But
That's the county's responsibility.
yeah, okay, I didn't know that, so that's why I'm asking.
Yeah,
Thank
that,
you.
no, that's how the LCP is written, that 1%. And the special set asides for projects like this one, that does go all the way back.
Well, I read it today and it said 60 units per year. So,
That's right, but read the rest of the LCP and you'll see the parts where there's specific allocation for certain projects. And this one, the project on that site has been in the LCP since the LCP was created. And that's already accounted for. But if you want to know the particulars of the mechanics, that's all the county's responsible.
well, right here it says the issuance of more than 60 building permits in a 12-month period in order to construct the project is consistent with LCP policy 3.16 because it's necessary to secure project financing.
There's a lot more to
So-
LCP than just that paragraph.
Right, I know, I read it today. That's
Well,
why I was still
I've
asking.
read it a bunch of times, and there is the portion for the project under consideration that is specifically referred to in the LCP. And rather than go in and do the parsing and reading and adjudicating what's in the LCP here, which is really not our purview. It's
Right.
important for us to understand it, I agree. But we're not the ones making the decisions on the
Okay.
counting or the limiting.
Okey-doke. Sounds good.
I mean, there would be times where I wish we were.
No, I,
But we're not.
I just wanna
Yeah.
make sure we're not, letting the little guy off, telling the little guy they can't have something because we gave it all to the big guy. That's what I feel is important.
It's great to feel that way. All of that counting and limitation
On the
is,
counting.
I'm sorry, I'd like to finish my sentence, please.
Okay.
All of that is county responsibility.
Okay.
That responsibility, we are not planning. We provide services, we get the referrals, we process the referrals as they come through from the county. The county provides the gateway for all of that.
Sounds good.
Bill, I think you were
Thank
next.
God my
Well,
questions been
Yeah,
answered.
it's mostly about something Greg Diegas said, but. This idea that we're going to spend 10 or 15 minutes of our board meeting discussing something which isn't even a problem. I'm not aware that there are people lining up not getting connected or anything. And so this was sort of a nonsensical diversion, I think. But what Greg said earlier about the nature of taking on a financial burden it's a deep point, and I wish we had a place where we could talk about it in a little more depth. But my sort of 3-sentence version and reaction is that on the one hand, the district is taking, in the current arrangement, the district is taking ownership. Sorry, echo driving.
I agree. Thank you.
In the current arrangement, the district is taking ownership of this property. At which point, in a year or so, now the district is slightly bigger and has slightly more infrastructure, all of which is paid for and maintained in all the ordinary. So that's a rather simple thing, and it's been going on for decades, and I'm sure it will continue to work. The only alternative I can imagine, and I'd love to be able to work this out with Greg in person, not just over Zoom, I don't think that's possible, is that somehow this new piece of infrastructure be separate. It have an asterisk on it or a different rate code, or somehow we have to maintain it differently and or pay for the maintenance differently than for the other 98% of our infrastructure. And that may very well be in some financial sense a good idea, but the layer of complexity that it adds is, I think, onerous. And in my scheme of thinking at the moment, I would rather all of the district infrastructure be district infrastructure and we maintain it regardless of what time somebody pitched in or not. That's my general thinking, but I wish we had more time to go into detail.
Okay, I'm gonna go to Pippin first and then Clemens.
Yes, fine.
And then to Catherine. Pippin?
You're on mute, Pippin.
Pippin,
Clemens can
you,
expand a little more.
Okay, now we can hear you, Pippin.
Sorry. Clemens can expand a little more, but I think that I just want to back up a step, Greg. I think you're drawing some conclusions which don't have, that may be in a broad sense, something to be concerned about, but the district has a rate structure. They charge every year each house or each EDU for a level of service, and the connection charge is charged based on the rate studies that have been put together to carry a burden of part of the system. So I think the district has a well-established rate structure that increases each year with percentages that reflect these costs that you talked about. So I think that the district is well covered, and they go through the process of adjusting these costs. So the burden that the developer pays is at present value. They're not paying, from the idea of, as the chair mentioned, this project was allocated in the 1980s, but they're not getting this at 1980s rate. They're paying this when the permit was approved just a few months ago. So maybe Clemens can add more, but I don't follow the characterization that somehow because they're a bigger development, they're underpaying.
Yeah, so first of all, I just want to point out that I think Greg and I had a lot of discussions about this. We're good at agreeing at a lot of stuff and disagreeing at some of it. So I think, Greg, that my position or the district's position, and I hope I wasn't the person that said we're taking on asset, because I think we generally don't really look at pipes as an asset or what is generally called an asset here in the district, an asset, right? Because we're not a private for-profit organization. But Greg's point is well taken, and it is just one that Greg is making towards all utility industries pretty much in the United States, because they all operate under the same principles. And so I think there are this is a very good point, that ultimately the maintenance has to be paid for this pipe in the future. Understanding that the development will contribute through rates towards necessary repairs in the future. But I do want to get back to Bill, because he does actually pick up on, I think, a very important point here. And so just want to acknowledge that, Bill, what you are suggesting, what you're thinking through, is actually possible, and other agencies do it. So you can, this would be done through a rate study. You can essentially look at what are actually service needs. Are there different service needs in different areas, and adjust rates accordingly. So just want to acknowledge that this is all doable and has been done in other districts. So just want to acknowledge that. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Catherine.
Well, thank you, Greg, for being here and for your comments. I think 1 year is too short a time for the warranty of work. I think it's a large pipe that we're taking responsibility for. And Sid mentioned that this may not be occupied fully for a while. Clemens, are we going to require them to have a fog collection system before it goes into our system? If that's oils and grease?
Pippin, I don't think that's necessary, right? It's a domestic.
Because it's considered residential, that's not part of the permit. If they had a commercial kitchen, like the hospital, for example, then yes, a grease collection system. But essentially these are just like condominiums or individual residences, and there is no provision for that for residences or apartment buildings.
I think I think we need to be aware of the fact, when I was living in Half Moon Bay on Oak Street, there were constantly Sam repair trucks out there. And it turns out certain neighborhoods tend to generate more fats, oils, and grease going into the sewer system than others. And this is going to be a lot of kitchens. And so I'm a little concerned about, because they're going to be in a very small, tight, compact area, as opposed to having, many feet between them and the length. I would hope we could do that. If we can't, I still would like to see, and this is part of it, a 5 or 10 year insurance bond to cover the functioning of that pipe. Accidents get made. And I would like this district to be protected. You know, we all know about the Leaning Tower of San Francisco. And we all know about earthquakes here. And that site is in an earthquake zone. And all along that street, there are earthquake faults on that side of Highway 1. So I would like to see us discuss having them post a $200,000 insurance bond for us or more to be able to repair it for the first 5 years of its life, so we could be sure it will last. I'm not asking for 40 years like the Sam force mains, but I am asking for something to protect the ratepayers on the district. Because the company that's going to own those units is not the company that's building it, nor is it the company that's doing construction. So if there is a problem, we will be left holding that bag, and I don't think that's fair to the ratepayers here. So please consider that.
I'm gonna check. I see your hand.
Okay.
Well, I'd like to inquire, Clemens Pippin, what's ordinary practice in the business?
But ordinary practice is gonna be a Pippin question, but I can tell you that we have a standard agreement, and the standard agreement sets out the procedures, and that is a 1 year timeframe. So I would almost want to ask Christine if that isn't a given, because that's our standard form.
It 1 year is standard in the industry, public utility industry. It starts from the time the district accepts the improvement. So I don't know, maybe Pippin, do we have a timeline on construction or installation of the extension?
I don't have a published schedule, but I would imagine that I think they want to get it in by this,
Mhm.
I would say by the fiscal year. So I'm sure they want to get it in before July, would be my gut feeling. I think the concerns are worth mentioning or worth acknowledging. You know, this is part of what Greg was getting to. You know, there is a risk to infrastructure. I would characterize, though, the type of infrastructure under proposal here is what I would consider the lowest risk. We've requested them. It's a gravity sewer, so it's not pressurized. It's designed with what appears to be more than adequate capacity. They're using much higher grade per district request and district code. They're using much higher grade than the minimum for pipe materials. If it was a system where they had, say, an internal pump station, or if they were actually building something really like, say, they were building a pump station, you know, for the whole unit, that would have a lot more impact, or more technical equipment. I think going into that, negotiating a longer warranty would be something to discuss. But Christine's right. I've done a number of mainline extensions, some for Montara and for other districts, and 1 year has been the standard. And I have seen, I can't recall very many, you know, even on including district projects, which also have a 1 year warranty, very many issues that have come up over the years. So gravity sewers, when installed correctly, are considered pretty reliable. So I personally don't have much concern. I recognize the board's concern and public's concern for protecting Montara's costs and Sam's costs. And to the point that it's not going to be occupied, as I said earlier, they are, I think they will have construction water on site. We can do a water flush down of this. We can do a pressure test, and we can verify that pressure test. So I think there's ways to verify that the pipe is in good form at the end of the warranty period. So
a follow-up question. We inspect before we start the term, is that correct?
correct. So we will be involved with the day-to-day construction along with the County of San Mateo. And then when the project is done and the San Mateo counties approve the back, fill and paving, or however the restoration is, although that's, we don't own the street. In effect, once the utility becomes the district, one of the highest liabilities in an open trench construction isn't the pipe failure. It would be an area that's not compacted properly, that the surface becomes unstable and the paving gets a dip in it or a divot. So the paving surface would probably be the highest risk. So I think that, we have, going through a winter with that warranty is definitely recommended for that purpose. And, we're not signing off on the whole project here. There is still the outstanding building permit. And so if there are, concerns the district has with the way the project's being hooked up, I think we'll have opportunities to continue the conversation with the developer. But
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
As Christine says, the last note there, just to reiterate. So let's say they finish construction and the county approves it, and I'm just going to pick a random date. Let's say it's July 1. Then our warranty period would start from there. It wouldn't start from today.
All right. Thank you. Sid?
Can we possibly modify this contract to be 1 year warranty from occupancy? That way we'll know once it's occupied whether there's issues. Because then they'll be really flushing and showering and using it. And the other question or thing I wanted to bring up was that I do remember reading somewhere that when Half Moon Bay took on the 160 units of Mid-Penn's Moonridge project, they connected it up with this sewer at Ocean Colony across the highway. And they had some problems with that and they had to build more. I mean, it didn't connect right, or it wasn't adequate, let's put it that way. So I know Moss is gone, but maybe there's a way you could reach out to him and find out more about that and see what the issue was. Was it, I know there's been anecdotal evidence that people were renting out rooms in the 4 bedrooms to more people than should have been there and that sort of thing. But, maybe it was just a building thing, the way they designed the sewer there. I don't know. But that project was for 160 units, not 71. But just the idea that we might end up with an albatross. The other thing that I do want to bring up is that in many of the documents before they got approved, they said that they were going to connect their stormwater system to the stormwater pipe in Carlos Street, which we all know there's no stormwater pipes on the whole damn coast. So and then they said they would run it over into Montara Creek, which I totally object to because that goes right into the Marine Reserve. So I'm hoping it won't go into our sewer lines somehow. That's another thought because there they are, they're right there near Carlos Street. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
I have a thought. I think this sort of getting back to the original question, that the standard in the industry and why developers don't rely on multi-year warranties to address delayed build out is because of the delay, the disconnect between the risk and then ultimate use, there is a disconnect. I mean, the pipe can sit for a while, conditions might change. And so that warranty doesn't account for that. And if the developers are going to be asked to do that, I think they price them pretty aggressively.
I just want to remind, in our report, once the project construction has been completed and a sewer permit final issued to San Mateo County, the warranty period will start. That's pretty close to occupancy.
Okay.
So that's it's kind of already in there, what you're asking for, Bill.
2 points to the center of this. I'm sure it's true that the standard is for a 1-year thing, but the standard is also to have flat ground, which doesn't have massive erosion forces on it. And so we, as a general community, are not quite the standard. And Catherine is saying that this particular place is even less the standard. So as a matter of principle, we ought to be able to ask for more if a specific instance calls for more. So that's kind of exhibit A. Exhibit B is, this is one very big thing. It's not a collection of 70 little one-off things which can average out. If they do it wrong, there's 70 people, 70 units worth of badness all at once, all failing at once. So both of those are very strong statistical and financial reasons for asking for a multi-year insurance policy. And if in fact the engineering is as simple and straightforward and likely to be robust as Pippin says, then the insurance companies won't charge much for it. That's their job. Their job is to realize it's a low risk thing. Sure. Instead of 1 year, charge you 20% more, make it 5 years. And I think we should at least ask for that.
Leah?
I tend to agree with both Catherine and Bill. It's not a regular piece of property with all those faults going through that. And the fact that it's up on the hill, there could be some kind of, erosion of land, during storms and so forth. So I have to agree that I don't know, and it's, something that's standard 1 year. This is not a standard lot. This is not a standard situation.
Yep.
And
Okay, one more thing.
Hold on, please. Pippin?
Clemens, maybe you have comments to address. I've heard 2 concerns about seismic activity in the area or potential faults in the area. Do you have specific information that says that there's faults in this location?
This is very simple. Yes, we have evidence of the San Andreas Fault just west of us, and the Seal Cove east of us, and the Seal Cove Fault just west of us. Meaning there is a bunch of other fault lines running all over the place, and if one of them rips, the entire town is going to be affected. So, yes, we have evidence that there is earthquake activity in this area, certainly, and that affects everyone.
But I guess to my point, a little more specifically, is that there's large faults in the area, but I think people are sensitive to soil movement based on what we've seen in other, particularly Seal Cove and other areas that have been in the paper.
Yeah. I mean, for example, the creek is a fault line. Creek follows a fault.
So
I wonder for Christine. Oh, go ahead. Finish up, Pippin, but then.
Yeah, sorry, what I'm getting to is that, specific faults or risks to the development have gone through the review process with the County of San Mateo. They don't allow any development that I'm aware of. I mean, I've seen some of the houses in town that have come up in peculiar shapes because of concerns. So we did not do a fault analysis on this particular project to the level that, we did a geotech, but we are working on another project in the area, and our geotech investigations didn't come up with any high risk zones of soil movement in this neighborhood, in this particular block. And the County of San Mateo has also reviewed this project And there were no special comments to the sewer design for that, but to reiterate the level of materials they are going to use, they are using a gasketed plastic material that if it were to move, I wouldn't expect immediate leaks. But I think we have to be careful when we say, oh, there's faults in the area, to be asking something, and I'm not defending this particular developer, I'm just speaking in general. For any development we review, it's not our position when this has gone through the design review process with the county. It's our position to be concerned, but it isn't our position to dictate that someone has should pay for or have a standard that we just decide is somehow different when we don't have facts to back it up.
Christine?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention a couple other things for everyone to consider. We do have a pretty robust hold harmless indemnity clause in the extension agreement. It covers negligent, anything arising out of the contract, negligent construction. So it's possible that would cover some future damages. And I'd also like to direct the board to our standard specs, which the board approves. I'm sorry, I haven't looked at these in a while, but we have, at least with regard to water extensions, the requirement is that the warranty shall be for a period of 1 year. So I don't know if there's the same on the sewer side, but sort of the standard is embedded in our specs. And I believe also Caltrans has very similar standard specs. And like I said before, and Pippin, there's many agencies use this standard practice. I think I would just caution trying to negotiate different terms with developers, especially in our district, that are different from each other, because that invites not a standard form, and negotiating for each extension, each improvement. I'm not sure that would be in the best interest of the district.
Okay, I think the order was Sid and then Bill.
Well, I just want to bring one other point up, and that was, I went to the dedication of the water tank a long time ago. It was pouring down rain. That whole property has a lot of water runoff, and I know you've seen the mud that goes through there. And it has gullies in the rainy season, right, Clemens? And the it comes out through the down onto Carlos Street. So it is gonna be, I mean, they put in design for 2 retention ponds, one right behind Dolores Silva's house. But the thing that worried me the most was just that they said that they could pour it all off into Montara Creek after, if it didn't, the retention ponds didn't hold. So I don't think that's being very good neighbors. So we'll just, you guys can go ahead and believe them on the sewer. I'm hoping it works. I'm just hoping it works.
Bill.
My side comment is that I found it very frustrating trying to answer one comment when whoever's raised their hand last gets to change the subject. So I
Sorry.
do want to, well, it's our rules of engagement. If hand raising is the number one thing, then we bounce subjects depending whose hand shows up first. However, Christine's talk about standardization is a brilliant introduction to my intellectual jihad against standardization. My entire life's work professionally is showing that standardization is an information throwing away process, which forces little tiny outliers like Montara to play by the same rules as big, fat, rich, stupid places. We do not want standardization here. We are the victims of it. Everything the standardization places at the county and the state are doing seems to be bad for us. They're making us jump through standardized hoops all the time. So talking about, yes, standardization is convenient and it tends to get rid of outliers like us. And so this is a different standardization problem. This is not a standard size single family residence. It's like 70 at once. And when Pippin tells me, I mean, the question about earthquake faults is a distraction. The question is this a standard location? Said we have geotech. If you tell me that our geotech says this is no different than any other location, then at least the geotech difference you have told me is good. I'll believe that, but I didn't hear that yet. But it's still a very big project, and if there's anything systematic, it's much better to have an insurance policy which pays out than it is to go to court and hope that maybe some clause in some contract can be enforced against their negligence.
Okay. I want to try to bring this to a close soon. Leah?
I do have a question for Pippin. Wasn't this project exempt from some of the standard environmental impacts and things because it was a low-cost housing? It wasn't exempt from any of it?
Would be big.
No, there was a huge EIR done. This community has a very strong and active sense of what Bill was talking about trying to protect ourselves.
So, but I'm just was asking Pippin, was there any kind of exemption that the project site had?
No.
I mean, were
Only-
anything that they didn't have to do that normal developers would have to do if it wasn't a low cost?
The only variance that I'm aware of is that they asked the supervisor to start construction prior to March 15th, pending management of water runoff during weather events, and I don't know the specifics of the details, but that would you have to take up with the county. But that's the only variance that I'm aware of. I'm not
Thank
the
you.
party to all the past, but understanding the standard development process in EIR and community impacts were guided by the county. But maybe you can offer something else, Clemens?
I'm not really aware of any deviation from the process. It is a large project and there are, I think, more meetings and there's more close looking happening than at others. But yes, it's 71 units, so it's a large project that's going in, and we have currently another one that's going in, big wave. It's not affecting the sewer side. I'm just gonna caution a little bit against what Bill says. I'm gonna say, no, this is complete standard. I mean, maybe it's not standard for here. This is the first 71 units that we put in, but there have been many similar projects all over the states and all over the world. So this is not necessarily an exception for that. It's maybe a little bit different for us because we're a small agency.
Christine, I just wanted to ask a clarification, but I think I'm hearing you say that because it's our standard agreement, we may not have the latitude to deviate on this.
That's possible. I haven't looked through our resolutions, but I would imagine some years back, the board probably approved this as part of their standard specs.
And
Could I
Yeah.
beg the chair's indulgence to offer 3 points of information?
Let me get Clemens had his finger up directly in
Yeah.
response to
Thank
Christine,
you.
and then you, Greg.
so to what Christine says, I think particularly to the new board members, if there is deviations given from the standard process for one project because it has specific circumstances that the board acknowledges, that means that this opens up the door for any developer to come in here and ask for special conditions. And there's precedent, and that means they have now a right to special conditions and can ask for them and can push those through. And that is the reason why we have developed these standard agreements and we are processing all applications the same way. So, just saying here, oh, we don't like this because this is, we think it's different. This is a standard development in San Mateo County. And now deviating from our practice means that we will have to do this for anyone else who comes through the door. And that, I think, is what Christine was trying to say. So in general, I have seen, not through my time, I'm aware of two specific deviation from the code to allow to acknowledge developer circumstances going many, many decades back, and both of these variances that were issued resulted in extreme legal headache problems and cost to this agency. So I'm just gonna caution extremely against not using this agreement in exactly the form it is presented here.
And
Yeah.
I concur with that. Sorry to interrupt. And about 2 or 3 years ago, probably 3 of the new board members were not on the board, but we did have a property owner come and want to change our standard form extension agreement in various ways. I think he was an attorney, and we had the same discussion, and we did not renegotiate these terms because of the very reason that Clemens just stated. We can't apply different standards to different properties. We'd never be able to process any applications, and it would be hugely expensive.
Okay, Greg, your points?
The points I wanted to raise, points of information from my time on the MCC. I was involved in both the stormwater report and the response to the draft EIR on the Cypress Point project. At the time, I interviewed the state geologist who was in charge of researching dormant faults that are on the map that pass through this property. He said at that time it would take him 2 years to finish the work. That work, to my knowledge, I don't know if it's been completed, but it was not completed in time for the county's review of that parcel. Secondly, he pointed out to me, this geologist, that there was no geologist who signed off on that EIR. There were 2 geotechnical engineers, no geologist. And he said that would not have been allowed in any other county he worked in. And he cited Santa Cruz and Marin County. But I think we know the political pressure of this county to get that thing built. Finally, regarding the stormwater issue Sid raised, the analysis done and the engineering for the stormwater was based on the site of the property, some 450,000 square feet of impermeable space, plus 1 acre. What was documented by residents and in the MCC report is that that is the bottom of a watershed of 11 acres, and that the existing county standards for stormwater design storms were totally inadequate and out of date. And even now that they've been updated, the NOAA data is 2014, already 10 years out of date. So my point is there are exceptional conditions regarding this site and the risks in this site. Do with that as you may.
I have one more thing to say.
Okay.
To Leah's point, 2 of the things that they totally glossed over besides stormwater, which, by the way, Greg, we did go to their coastside design review, and they refused to put in permeable paving. So that could have absorbed some of the stormwater on the 11 acres, but they didn't want to put it in because it costs more. So that's gonna run off. But they changed while this was under it's been under the works for a long time, but they changed it from the traffic surveys now are done on a what's it called, Greg?
Are we on topic on
Vehicle
this?
Yes.
miles traveled rather than delay index.
Right, the vehicle miles traveled is a new way they decide, and that's because you don't really know where the people that are gonna live there are traveling to. So it's like a total pull it out of the bag, and so that they pulled that out of the hat, but they also said part of the thing is that they will build this based on the Connect the Coastside, or the comprehensive transportation plan, which they approved, but they put it in the drawer and never funded it. So we still don't have any, the Moss Beach corridor's never been built. It's not gonna be finished until 2030. So they're building this before the Moss Beach corridor is completed. And Big Wave, back in 2012, they started their project, getting it run through the project planning. And they talked Don Horsley into eliminating the traffic signal or any kind of intersection control. We actually had negotiated for a roundabout at Cypress, and there was an accident there this weekend. And they talked themselves out of getting a traffic control there. So they came and modified that.
Can we bring this back to the
I
topic?
was trying to say,
Can we bring this back to the topic?
yes, the topic is that the traffic is one of the items on the approval that they didn't really actually address. And the other topic was on the approval that
No,
it
I'm
was
sorry,
supposed to
our
be,
topic right now
Right.
is a proposed
Right.
mainline extension agreement.
right.
That's our topic.
Well, she asked what was as far as what was part of the approval. And the hospital was part of being close by as an amenity, and now it's closed. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Bill?
I think I can remember the 2 points they wanted to say responding to Pippin and Christine. Pippin saying, it'll be simple, just tell me that this site is geologically no different than all the other sites we built for, just say it, I'll believe it. But I wasn't contesting it, I was asking for clarity. And I haven't heard clarity. The other thing to Christine's point is it sounds like an up or down. Either we are committed to approving this because we have a standard in which that 1 year thing is the standard and we've got that standard and we have to rubber stamp. So that vision sounds like a rubber stamp. Or we as an outlier do get to insist on distinctions. Now, what I hear implicitly, and I need to hear it explicitly, is that whatever legal framework allows us to charge some people more insurance than the standard, somehow that legal framework allows 1 million developers to come up and ask for exceptions in the other direction as well. That sounded implicit. If just nod or tell me if that's true, because if it's true, then we're stuck. If it's not true, then it doesn't give license to anybody to come in and mess with us. They're asking for exceptions. We impose the exceptions, they don't. That's certainly a very legitimate way of running things.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. I want to actually make a similar point to what you just did, Scott, but real quickly, I made, you have heard it from me, Bill, very clearly that the seismic risk in Montara and Moss Beach is everywhere high. It's everywhere the same, and it's everywhere
That's
high.
my question.
Okay. So it's the same.
That
It's the
wasn't
same
my
as
question,
anywhere
though
else.
You were answering something else.
I want to just try to bring the board a little bit back down to what is on hand. Okay,
I'd like to make.
so we are a water and sewer agency. You, the Montara Water and Sanitary District Board, provided your staff with the policies to approve this project administratively. So we are getting, referrals, we're getting requests from San Mateo County, and we respond accordingly, and we issue those permits. What you have in front of you is nothing else but the approval of a sewer mainline extension. Now, I also want to just make it clear that a developer that comes in here and is asking for water and sewer, you have obligation to provide water and sewer. So there are, I think, here ideas in this board of choices that are not available. Okay, so I just want you to continue talking about a sewer mainline extension, and that has nothing to do with stormwater. Stormwater is not our function. It has nothing to do with traffic control. All of these planning topics that are handled at planning agencies. Here, we're talking about a water and sewer mainline extension that is in front of you, and the staff is recommending approval of the standard agreement that is applied across the board since at least 30 years, all development. That's what you have in front of you, so please
Okay,
continue talking about and make a decision.
Catherine?
Clemens, thank you for that. Thank you to Christine and Pippin and Greg and the board members. I'd like to move the adoption of resolution next in order of the Montara Water and Sanitary District approving a main sewer extension and authorizing execution of agreement for construction and acquisition of sewer main extension APN 037022070.
Can I have a second? Okay, so we have a motion and a second. I have one more comment for, hoping we've all discussed this out. I just want to get in a little of my thought here, and that is, I've heard from staff and from our engineer that, that what's in front of us has undergone their scrutiny according to our standard approach, to our standard agreement, to our standard specifications, that there will be oversight of construction, inspection, and warranty. This is normal in all of my experience with this, and I'm relying on staff and our experts. And so that's why I'll be voting yes. Could we have a roll call, please?
Director Champion,
Aye.
Director Young,
No.
Director Boyd,
Aye.
Director Slater Carter,
Yes.
Director Sofsky.
No.
Motion carries 3-2.
Thank you. This isn't always easy, but we'll hash it out, and we took the time and we did it. So thank you everyone for that. Let's move to the next item, review and action concerning ratification of Portola tank roof emergency repair.
Yeah, thank you very much, Scott. So I mentioned at the last meeting, we went actually really well through the storm series. However, our wooden tank, our Portola tank, received some storm damage. A branch, and it was a large branch, somehow made it on that roof and damaged a portion of the roof. Actually penetrated a section of the plywood, and also actually broke some of the rafting, the rafters up there. So we need to repair this as fast as possible. This is, of course, this state is looking at this, of course, with some concern. It's not like a huge concern. We've actually operated a tank for a long time with a I'm not gonna say not the original roof, but we're asked to resolve this as quick as we can. We actually thought this would be a good opportunity to reassess the tank and the location and so on. The repair, however, is relatively reasonable for a little more than $30,000. What are we asking for here? $35,000. We think we can actually get that tank back up operating and in a shape where we can very relaxed operate that tank for a number of years, and that gives us the time to do the proper assessment without time pressure. If there is a need to, there is a need to address the age of the tank and other repairs in the future. Right now, we are asking for $35,000. This is all local contractors, just it's a roof repair. Hopefully, this is a standard procedure. There could be complications depending on if we have to take the tank down or not, but this is a relatively simple step to get this tank repaired for $35,000. So we are recommending to move the adoption of a resolution of the Board of Directors to ratifying an emergency expenditure authorized by the General Manager. So I already authorized the funds, and now I'm asking for your blessing in the use.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Do we have any further discussion?
I have a question. Did you
Yeah.
already get a couple bids?
We went with some, no, this process is actually, the emergency essentially means that I'm not gonna go through a regular bidding process. So we are looking at just reputable contractors.
Okay,
And we just got quotes from folks we know that can address this and do a proper job.
okay.
Okay.
Did we pick? Sorry, I didn't get to that part yet.
Hmm?
Who do we pick? I didn't get there yet on my agenda.
We have Greg Jones Roofing. And hold on, who's doing the actual woodwork? Is done by,
Is that Clinton Miles?
no, Clinton is actually organizing this for us.
Oh.
He's, so we're buying the materials ourselves.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry, the woodwork is done by,
That's the first quote, right? The
Greg Jones is the first.
I thought Greg Jones is the roofing, and I thought we have another
Oh, I see.
wood contractor, a carpenter. But we're purchasing the wood ourselves, so, and I can't find the name of the roofing contractor at this point. Sorry,
Nikeson.com.
I'm sorry, what?
It says here Nikeson.com. The tank level indicator. Maybe
No, these are just
Those-
extras,
Yeah.
so we need a new tank level indicator, so this is
Oh,
just
big
the materials.
Big Creek lumber for the wood.
Yes,
Okay, gotcha.
it's just the materials.
Okay, Christine?
Oh, thank you. I just wanted to make a quick correction. I can't see the actual packet that's on the agenda, but there may be one typo in the resolution if the board does choose to adopt it. At one point it says 30,000 and then the findings it says 35,000. So if you could correct that, Clemens, before the resolution is signed, if it passes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, I see the first
Thank you.
30,000.
Sorry
That-
about that. That's my
With
fault.
that clarification to the motion, that was my understanding during the presentation, the mover and seconder agreed. They were making the motion for the 35,000,
I agree.
and Phil, you were the seconder,
No, he was the primary.
or you're the primary?
Yeah, 35 grand, I'm good with.
Okay, all right, terrific. Could we have a roll call?
Could I make a comment?
Oh, yes.
I just want to say, thank you, Clemens. I trust you guys and know you guys will do what you don't need our micromanaging.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take the money and do it right.
All right, could we have a roll call, please?
Director Champion,
I,
Director Young,
Hi.
Director Boyd,
Aye.
Director Slater Carter,
Yes,
Director Softly.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
All right, thank you. And I'm sure we all agree with Catherine. Thank you, and the crew for getting us through this. I'm glad that's all we had to deal with, but I know it had to come as a bit of a surprise to find the tree had decided to
I'm not.
go where it was
Knock
not
on
invited. Well, it was actually the knocking on the wood.
The wood was doing
The problem, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next item, review and action concerning, oh wait, sorry, ahead of myself. Executive summary, December 31st, 2025 mid-year budget versus actual.
Yeah, thank you very much. So this is one item that is a little bit a different beast. We are one of the, there's not many agencies that actually look at the budget mid-year. We also actually do a year-end budget comparison on how we, so how did we perform? How did our budgeting essentially work out over the entirety? So, and here we are mid-year. So I just want to highlight that this is something that is not standard for public agencies. We're doing it anyways. And so Peter is gonna present, talk a little bit about the main numbers that we're seeing in here. Of course, there is each year some deviations, there's some up and there's some down. But what's, I think, very important to remember when looking at these various numbers is that the cash flow comes in, for some items it is very regular, for others it's very irregular. So there may be a large deviation, and it simply has to do with that we didn't get to make that single expenditure, or we didn't get that single check yet, that we expect, or something like that. So with that, Peter, maybe you can tell us a little bit what you're seeing in the mid-year budget versus actual comparison.
Thank you, Clemens. I'm going to try to adhere to the portion where you said just a little bit of talking. Do my best. But yes, the format is I said, what you have all seen and have hopefully gotten used to. The mid-year, so we're really looking to see how close we are to the variance column with our cash flow, the sewer and water, 50%. So for the most part, I think we are. It's kind of the operational piece of it. We try to the parts that we have control over. Some pieces we just don't. And really, what I really want to kind of bring your attention to is that operational wise, yes, we are tracking well. Kind of the discussion that preceded this presentation was larger projects, and we're seeing that in terms of fees and for both administrative and a connection. Those are kind of the big blips that you'll see on the sewer side. Outside of that, we are moving pretty well. Outside of the one area which we kind of know about is our CIP program. It's not what we had hoped it would be at this point for various reasons. So I said that's kind of what we're seeing. But everything else that we had anticipated is kind of coming to fruition. So I said I don't want to go over it page by page. If you guys have specific questions, I'd be happy to answer anything. The executive summary is also in there as well, that describes kind of our major areas, our major impact areas. But I said overall, I said the pieces that the large pieces that we budget for, like I said, it's about 15 to 16 months before this is all kind of going into it, because I said we will start our budget process for the 26-27 fiscal year over the next probably by the end of the month. Clemens and I will have a sit down or two to discuss what we anticipate seeing for our next year's budget. So with that, I'll turn it over to you guys. Any questions?
I really appreciate the attention to making sure that the information is available. And as Clemens mentioned, this isn't required. It's not even standard with a lot of agencies, but we're better off because we do it. That's it.
Quick question on the cell tower lease. It just jogged my memory that I saw somebody's applying for a cell tower to be put on a residence in Montara from T-Mobile. Do we, we're leasing to somebody else, I presume, or offering our building for some other cell phone?
So what is the question?
So who do we get our revenue from is what I'm asking.
So we do get our revenue from AT&T and from Crown Castle.
Is that Verizon?
No,
That's
that is T-Mobile.
Oh,
And sorry,
Verizon.
Verizon. I'm
oh,
sorry.
Verizon, okay.
Verizon and Crown Castle.
Sorry.
So we
No, I'm
didn't
sorry,
get-
but then Crown Castle is T-Mobile.
That's weird that they didn't approach
Oh.
us for,
Crown Castle works for various. They establish access to a site and the build out and the construction and.
they're like
Yes,
a broker.
Well, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. Well, they're more than a broker.
Yeah.
Because they lay the groundwork, they get the contracts in place, they operate a lot of things. So they're a way. It's a way for the big companies to shift the expense.
So that the T-Mobile that wants to go over there on Main Street, they didn't approach us, or we didn't want them, or?
We don't have the location that they do.
Okay,
With cell towers, it's all about location and
I see.
how much you can see from that location.
okay, thanks, just curious.
just a question for Peter. I was looking through this, and maybe I missed what you said. The very first page of budgeted cash flow sewer service charges are 2.2 million, budgeted is 4.4 million. That's a factor of 2. And that usually means that we
It's coming back. Yeah, the meeting room cam feed.
Are you texting comments or should I?
Why don't you? I haven't
Okay.
started yet.
Yeah, the meeting room just showed up, so I may just, oh, there we go.
Are we back?
I don't hear anybody yet.
yeah.
I'm glad you picked
Oh,
that
now.
one and not the
Permit
fees and others,
I
because
was wondering about that, but the biggest
thing
number is
here?
the first one.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah, what happened? That's right. 23,000 in fees from the expended.
well, that's 71 units.
And you wouldn't believe this, but I just finished saying what I had.
71 units.
Okay, so that was a 312.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were on, wow, that's.
Thinking like the most beautiful day on the coastline. What are we doing with the power outage?
I guess we're practicing.
It was a warm day, maybe.
Yeah,
they
winter
thought,
isn't over
"Well,
yet."
Through with the coast side today.
You don't deserve something so nice.
So Director Sofsky, as soon as you finished your question, all went dark. But I remember the question.
All right, so I got my question answered, by the way.
Oh, you did?
Kathy.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
It shows up the.
All right, okay, we apologize, there was apparently a scheduled power outage, it took us out for a minute, but we're back. Thank you for bearing with us. Do we have any, further questions before we move on to the next agenda item?
I suggest we move on.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next one. Thank you so much, Peter. Thank you so much for
Yes.
coming on. Let's move to review and action concerning receipt of funding for FEMA declared disasters on behalf of Sewer Authority Midcoast.
Thank you, Peter, that's you again. Go for it.
So really, it's this. Well, yeah, I mean, echo on my side. You guys have it? No. Okay, I'll fight through it. So we've received a number of checks going through Cal, OES, and FEMA for SAM with Montara Water and Sanitary District acting as the conduit. So this is another check for another project. It's not it was the winter storms, the last batch that we received, but now they are moving toward movement of the electrical building, and so that project is underway and it is moving forward. And like I said, this is I believe $78,000 of additional funds that the district received this past month that are going to be remitted back to SAM. That is part of this by the program, the LHMP program, I believe it is. So yeah, that's the long and the short of it. But additional funds for SAM to be acknowledged by the district and then remitted back to SAM.
And did you say it was for their electrical building?
Correct.
Oh, good.
They're going to be moving it because its current location is I'm not saying in a flood zone. I mean, that very well could be it. I don't know the technical details of it. But I believe it is because it is in a flood zone, and moving it is going to be an overall improvement for the authority.
Yeah, Catherine can elucidate.
Working on Sam, it's a board member and chair this year, by the way. The electrical building was put at the lowest geographic point on the entire lot. That's, I think the engineers for that were Kennedy Jenks, I'm not sure. But in any event, so we've looked at many ways of doing it, and so we're trying to get this done. We came within mere inches of losing the entire electrical system for the plant during the floods of 2023. So it needs to be done, and we can thank the hard work of Keisha and the staff here. I sat in on some of the meetings there with the FEMA and so on, and they are very, very, very thorough. So I think we're doing a very good thing for Sam, and I will brag on Montara Water and Sanitary again. We're the ones who keep finding and applying for the extra money with the help of our engineers and staff, and so we're bringing the money in instead of wasting it on other things.
And to those ends, $1.588 million thus far. Simon said that's a wonderful number, and I think we've highlighted it before. The district, RP said it comes through the district. We receive it, we acknowledge it, and then we pass it on dollar for dollar, penny for penny back out to Sam.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you, Clemens. And I know there are many more people involved. As Catherine pointed out, FEMA is very particular and paying very, very close attention to every kind of detail. I heard reports about how in depth that was. This is money, $1.588 million brought to the coast side. There would have been almost no other way to get it here without this district providing the work and the qualification to be able to receive these funds. And it's a pleasure to be able to be the bearer of checks to the entire coast side.
Absolutely.
And I really appreciate the collaboration between Sam and Montara on this. This is one of those things where when we work together, really good things happen, especially in current situations with the federal government. It's really great to see still we can bring good things back home. So I know there were many people involved, and we're grateful for it. This is going to be very helpful. And boy, that electrical building, we've been trying to get that thing moved for 15 years. And we've known it's a priority, and finally we have some resources to get this done. It's going to take a lot more because this is just for the design. So there's going to be construction and quite a bit more to come, but every little bit helps. And 1.588 million it's not nothing. This is really great. Thank you.
It's for the safety of the workers too. That's the important thing, really.
It's just true that will go to the safety of the facility and for the people on the coast side to do the moving that to a higher elevation. Losing that electrical building could have killed the plant, which would have been extremely difficult to come back from. So thank you all. Let's now go to reports. Sewer Authority Mid-Coast side.
I'll let you handle that. I don't think there's anything significant going on.
No, I don't think so.
And our meeting on Monday is canceled.
Okay. No, we did have a meeting. And I apologize, I don't have the agenda in front of me. I'll dig it up while we're going through the other reports. Anything from Mid-Coast Community Council? No. How about CSDA
Nothing to report on CSDA.
and
LAFCO.
LAFCO? Yeah.
LAFCO had a meeting in January. The next meeting is in April.
Right. Anything attorney's report, Christine?
No
Nothing?
attorney's report.
All right, any director's reports? Yes, Sid.
The Coastside Fire Protection District hadn't raised their meeting fee for a while, so they voted themselves a new fee. And let's see, there was one other thing, I can't remember though. So that's it.
Okay, all right. I thought you were gonna buy me some time to dig up the SAM agenda.
Sorry.
I could have done that earlier.
Well, let me see if I
No,
wrote
no,
something down,
that's
but
all right.
our next quarterly recycling day is May 2nd for Recology.
All right,
How's
well,
that?
we got
Did
some-
buy you a little time?
There you go. That early warning. Thank you. General manager's report. Anything to add to your packet?
I just want to highlight, it's in the packet, but I want to highlight that we have the February, March newsletter edition attached to the staff report and it's being sent
It's
out.
very nice, and I love the picture of the crew.
Thank you.
All right. With that, anything for future agendas? We have no closed session tonight, correct?
Yes.
All right,
Yeah.
with that, with my thank you, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Leah, thank you for this.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Bye.
I don't.